Hello, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Here comes another live broadcast of our Prime Minister. So many important issues discussed, and the alliance of Cho, the Ambazonian Prime Minister or President, is here discussed in full. Please know that we are moving, and African Union is being agitated that, oh, please, this alliance can cause problem. So though they are presenting us in a very bad light, but it doesn't matter. The signal is highly needed and highly welcome, because at the end of the day, truth will be digged out of all this they are fabricating against us. The alliance is for freedom and nothing but that. Please, let's hear our Prime Minister and the discussion online, live and direct.
All right. As I was saying, the ICG, try to bring this our alliance to the international stage, but from a very wrong context, and from a very wrong perspective. Well, like everybody knows, the role of media, there is no media awareness that is negative, no matter how negative the writers or journalists want to be. At the end of the day, you bring this information to the people that needed it, and they will find out the truth at last. So the most important thing is that the Biafra Ambazonia Alliance is an international stage, whether for the right thing or for the wrong thing, it doesn't matter. What matters is that some people somewhere are aware of this particular alliance. When those who are trying to belittle the capacity of Ambazonia and Biafra will go into research to know how we have been able to safeguard our land against Islamic State invasion. Then they will find out the truth. The report said that both nations, Biafra and Ambazonia, are looking for safe haven, and that will destabilize the region. Like I've said before, we start having an attack. It is not us that destabilizes the region. The region has already been destabilized by the invaders, whose ulterior motive is to turn everybody into Islamic State, either directly or indirectly. And we have no choice. We are left with no other choice than to defend our land, defend our women and our children. And today it is happening. I can never, ever back down, step back an inch from the decision that we have made to liberate ourselves from the shackles of this particular subjugation. That the enablers, both the enablers, their sponsors, the inventors has brought on our people. Our decision is what is going to work for us. The model we are following today is our own model, not Mandela model, not Gandhi model, not Martin Luther model. It is a model that is going to work for Biafra, because we are in a different era, my people, and we are facing completely different problem. The complexity of the problem we are facing today requires a very different approach. So when anybody tells you to go and look how other people did it, tell them we are not looking at how any other person did it. We are looking at how we are going to do it in our own way to solve our own problem. And I will continue to say it anyway. We have found a way to make sure that Nigeria does not kill us again and go free. We have found a way to fight our way out of Nigeria. And that way is the only way that works for us. Not me going on hunger strike. It doesn't move Nigeria. Nigeria will celebrate it. Not me doing any other thing, saying, oh, everybody should drop arms because Gandhi used non-violent. Because, and when we talk about violent, when we talk about non-violent, I do not know who is using violent. Is it us who have been killed for carrying ordinary flag? Is it us who have been killed for going out to the streets to say enough is enough? Is it us who have been killed in our own homes? Our children, our women has been killed, raped in our own homes. Who is violent? Is it us who have said you can't kill us again? Or is it those who have been perpetrating this particular heinous crime against our people for ages? And we have risen up today to say, no, you can't do it anymore. And they want to give you a bad name, say you are violent. If that is the definition of violent, I am violent. I can never stop this violent. If it is to defend my people is what you know to be a violent, I am violent. And I will be that violent until the freedom comes. Thank you very much. Choyo Ayaba, you can go ahead from here, please.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Prime Minister. Am I being heard?
Yes,
very well. Very
All
well.
right. I would like to address a couple of issues and look into the future. We should be very optimistic, not because we are more powerful than those who've held us captive since we were born, but because we are wiser. And the Prime Minister talked about instability. Instability is caused by insecurity. And insecurity is caused by poverty that is induced through mismanagement, corruption, and lack of accountability. Our both nations, both the economic and political infrastructures have been hijacked and tailored to satisfy a handful of gun-wielding, powerful individuals who have now caused even the collapse now of the Naira. And I'm happy that the Prime Minister and myself, we've had discussions on establishing an intermediate currency for Biafra. A violation of human rights, torture, and arrest, imprisonment, lack of fair trial, summary execution has been the cause of instability. Environmental degradation, getting into Biafra land, into Ambazonia, with corporations whose sole interest is profit and engaging in activities without concern for the protection of the environment has caused oil spills, has caused health hazards. Those are the causes of instability. And I can agree with the Prime Minister more. If you go further to looking at these reports, which purport to cite primary and secondary sources, they are produced in what I call a Eurocentric manner that negates the contextual realities which, if followed, would have produced reports that are not only objective, but reflect the reality of the moment. You find the report, talking about the Amazonian Governing Council and others as militias. And that is not only abusive, but it is wrong. But one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight this report, as the Prime Minister has said, is also because if we do not establish the institutions that can produce our own reports, others will do it for us. And that's why during our last outing, we talked about creating the Ambazonia Biafra International Relations Institution that will be responsible for overseeing opportunities. And I state this here. Ambazonia has engaged in negotiation already. The first failed attempt was through the Swiss government. The second aborted attempt was through the Canadian government. And in my leadership, I have always brought up the Biafran issue because the destabilization being caused in Biafra by all the issues I have named is going to affect the economic prosperity of Ambazonia and the political stability which is required for investment in Ambazonia. So we must look into how we are going to shape an approach that is going to undermine the approaches that have been established within the continent. For example, the report highlights the importance of the African Union in either resolving or getting involved into the conflict. If we just look at the last African Union, over 5 countries did not, or more countries did not participate because they consider the African Union as having been hijacked by either the European Union, as we saw the French intervention in undermining the supposed currency that they wanted to put in place. We have also realized that the African Union is made up of friends who safeguard the interests of friends, do not have the interests of the constituents they represent, do not have the interests of the millions of Africans. So you can find that Africans are being attacked in South Africa, you will hardly get criticism. You will find that Africans are being molested across the continent. The heads of states that are overseeing these countries for the interests of foreign corporations can never be held to account because the other countries that are supposed to hold them to account are also ruled by individuals who are either corrupt, inefficient, or dictatorial in their economic and political approaches. So how do we move forward? Who do we look up to? Do we want to, as Biafrans and Ambazonia, create a new world order that redefines, the concept of state interrelationship, concept of sovereignty, state security? How do we want to do it? As the Prime Minister said, the Gandhis, the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X, the Mandelas existed at a particular time. Also, their time and their approaches responded to the geopolitical relationship that existed then. The struggles between capitalism and communism, where international actors could support one side to push them to adopt economic models or political systems that are commensurate to their own. We have harnessed the power of the social media. I will not remind you that we are on Twitter. Then, during the Mandelas, you needed a radio station to be able to communicate. Now, we have the power of the social media. We can undermine constructed narratives, the books written by historians that favor the occupiers of our country can be undermined through knowledge created by the access we have using the social media. So how can we positively not only use the social media to undermine the narrative that treats us as subject to the master state, but also to create alternative political, economic, and social models that will be embraced by our peoples. It is not enough to let the people know what you are fighting against. It is more important to let the people know what you are fighting to offer. This is why we must not wait for the kind of economic model we want to be established only after we have completely defeated colonialism. Biafra and Ambazonia must begin to trade and regulate the trade and make sure that those who trade pay taxes to both institutions that can be used to be reinvested within communities to create proper systems of education, proper systems of cohesion that keeps our people clean environment and that gives our people respect and dignity. We are not going to wait until we defeat these enemies to establish an education system that is going to develop curriculum of education that responds to economic and socio-economic and political reality. We are not going to sit here and study about fishing and forestry in Norway when you can deal with it down there in Biafra. I told Ambazonians the other day, Singapore got palm. I think from Inigo, Singapore, what it produces in terms of monetary value in palms is $11 billion a year from palms imported from Biafra. It has established a palm industry and subsidiary industry through palm production that creates jobs and opportunities. And that is able to capture the economic potentials, further training, transform the resources at base. So you don't produce palm nuts, you are not able to benefit from it. We are not going to wait until the collapse of these systems to begin to build the kind of society that we promise our people. That is why I agree with the Prime Minister that our own models are different. We are not also going to wait until freedom to shape international politics. When I started discussing with diplomats, I came to realize how limited they were in terms of content, in terms of knowledge. Their knowledge was captured through colonial prison, through economic interest. I came to realize that though France is supporting Cameroon, France has more investment in Nigeria than it has in Cameroon. My people, we are the game changers. We are the disruptors. And I want us to think we are billionaires, not based on the amount of money that is stuffed in our account, but based on the ideas that we have that can transform our societies today. We have today disruptor machineries that can turn the wasteland in the delta, all the spilled oil, into clean drinking water that can save the health of our people, into manure that can be invested in the agricultural sector, into electricity that can power every household. The waste that is produced by our occupiers, if we bring ourselves together, we are going to employ the new technology that will turn that waste into clean drinking water. A sick population is not good for economic production. A sick population cannot accumulate wealth. Half of our population are sick from diseases that can be treated, but deliberately abandoned so that you can be dependent on your occupier. Our health infrastructures have been collapsed, where billionaires have their coffers stuffed with a lot of money. Our environment has been destroyed. The destroyers are flying in private jets and living in hotels that you and myself and our children, our great-grandchildren, the next generation, if we don't fight today, will never dream of living in those places. They are dancing in Aso Rock. They are making birthday parties in Yaoundé. And you are in exile, struggling to find a space to call home, a place where you can even bury your own dad and find his grave next time, not ravished by dogs. This is what we face. But what we face also provides us an opportunity, not only to be people who complain about the international system. What have we got to offer? We've got to organize ourselves. And I'm glad the de facto government and the homeland is going to be the true representatives of the Biafran people. It is going to organize communities. It is going to make sure that it creates infrastructures and systems, credit systems that can give the poor farmer credit to be able to invest and create wealth and send the children to good schools. Create a curriculum of education that is going to teach your children how to be mechanical engineers, how to produce beauty. Not to tell you that a hairdresser is bad. Being a mechanic means you're stupid. Being an electrician means you didn't go to school. We use words to change the future. We use words to give you hope. We use words to make you not to be afraid. We use these words to tell our enemies that you can alter your approach today for the benefit of your own people, or this generation will collapse your systems. We have just gotten started. We will not succeed if we blink. We will not succeed if we compromise. We will never succeed if we do not give them method for method and ideal for ideal. But most importantly, all of the things we say today, we articulate are mere words. If we do not transform them into actions that can benefit our people today, it will be useless. Ambazonia has risen. Biafra has risen. Our neighbors and the world better get used to from today that these nations exist. Before they were here, we were here. When they will be long gone, we will still be here. And both flags will still hover and tower over our both nations. All hail Biafra, all hail Ambazonia.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho, for that wonderful speech there, touching everything as it is. You know, the enemy has always used this reverse psychology. They always tell you it is your activities that is bringing the military to kill people. It is your activities that is making your region to be destabilized. And like you just rightfully pointed out, when the government fails, it gives birth to insecurity, and that insecurity will start destabilizing the region. And that's exactly what has happened. But even more to it, the government by themselves sponsors the insecurity. The government by themselves sponsor terrorism. The government by themselves aid and abet the terrorists that are coming to kill our people. That has led to what is happening today. But you know, when we start defending ourselves, just like you and I have started doing for our both nation, they all forgot how bad it were before you even came to the picture. They all forgot how bad it were before Simon Ekpa even came to the picture. That before Simon Ekpa came to the picture, people are being killed in their praying ground. Before Simon Ekpa came to the picture, women, children, heads are being cut off in their villages. Before Simon Ekpa came to the picture, markets were being burnt. And this has been what our people went through before now. But today, what they will tell you, how Dr. Cho destabilized Ambazonia, how Simon Ekpa Is one responsible for bringing the military to kill? All those things, they call them reverse psychology. And because we know exactly the importance of freedom of our people, what it will be, how the future will be bright, the education system, social service system, pro-social amenity from the government, because we have lived in the Western world and we have come to understand how the system works here. And that is why we said enough is enough. Not only that we are also very much versed in international law, the same law that many of these countries, including Cameroon and Nigeria, are signatory to, which are the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Self-determination right of the United Nations, Nigeria ratified it. The same thing in the African Union, the Charter of African Union on Human Rights and People's Rights, Article 21. These are the things that many of these people don't understand. We are looking for a nation where the citizens will be proud to call a nation. We're looking for a nation where we know we will not be branded as criminals and internet fraudsters. We're looking for a nation where the government will take responsibility of its own citizens. We're looking for a nation where the security of every person will be the first and utmost priority of the government. We're looking for a nation where democracy will be the order of the day, where the people's right to vote will be counted, respected, where a true democracy and a true democratic process will be implemented to the fullest. We are looking for a country where people can sleep and their two eyes closed, like many of us are sleeping in a different country of residence, because the land is secured. And the Biafra government in exile and Ambazonia Governing Council has done that job from the scratch. We in the government in exile of Biafra, we've embarked on the database of the Biafra people. At the same time, like the Dr. Cho mentioned here about the currency of Biafra and Ambazonia, we've had extensive discussion, plan, making sure that we put every structure in place. And this structure is already coming to stay. The Biafra coin will be out very soon. The same thing with the Biafra National Identity Card, the Biafra database system, it will be out soon. We are not just doing this for the sake of it, but we are doing it to make sure that our people do not jump from fry pan to fire. We want to preach and do what we preach. We want to make sure that the freedom we're looking for and the dream that we have for our people are the dream that is realistic, and dream that is achievable, and dream that we put their interests first before anything. That's why this sacrifice is being made. For those who do not understand the importance of this particular alliance, Biafra and Amazonia, not just in the alliance, but the emergence of these countries. For those who do not understand the importance, like I have said, Sahel is being overrun by terrorists. In the entire West African state, Ambazonia and Biafra remain the only two nations that are completely pure and clean from the terrorist spirit. I stand to be challenged anywhere. Mention one country in the south, in the Western Africa, that has not been infiltrated by the Islamic State agenda. Mention one. All of them, from A to Z, the terrorists are in charge of many countries, including this African Union. And that's what many people do not understand. But the point is, it is not late. The more you sabotage the freedom of Ambazonia and Biafra, the more you enslave yourself and the more you open yourself to a threat of Islamization. This is a fact. Check yourself and check the countries within the West Africa. I want you to mention one country that you can look at and you see the potential you are going to see in Biafra and Ambazonia. Mention one country. There is none. All these countries has been caged. And the only hope many of them have today is this emerging nation, the Biafra and Ambazonia, where we are going to join forces, a very powerful forces, to make sure that the upsurge of the terrorists from the Sahel will be haunted to the minimum. The disintegration of Nigeria, the exit of Ambazonia will go a very long way in cutting very short the ideal, the agenda of the terrorists within the Sahel. Once Biafra exit, the interest of the terrorists, the interest of the Islamic State has been disintegrated. And this is a fact that everybody must know. We are not saying that we're going to be the police of Africa, no, but we are going to be a model to so many African countries. And that model is very, very crucial and very important. So if you are an Ambazonian, find yourself in Ambazonian territory, even if you believe in Ambazonia or you don't believe in Ambazonia, know one day that Cameroon can never be the option. Whatever you go through, whoever you are, whatever Cameroon has made you to become today, you can never attain your potential under Cameroon. The same thing to Biafra people. You can never attain your potential as a Biafran in Nigeria. Today, the hunger in Nigeria, the hardship in Nigeria is ringing bell. And you know, only Biafra people are the ones that are not protesting. The reason being that we have never relied on government. That is the secret. Biafra has never, ever in the history of Nigeria relied on the government of Nigeria. And today, the result is here. The people that are crying are the ones benefiting from the Nigeria. That is the reason when you talk about the betterment of the people when they exit Nigeria, they say, no, you must stay in Nigeria because Nigeria feed them. But the same Nigeria don't feed Biafra. The policy of the government has always been against the Biafra people. But Biafra are self-made. You are already autonomy on your own. So whatever the policy the government put, it doesn't affect you because you have built your economy by yourself. You provide electricity for yourself. You provide water for yourself. You provide school for yourself. You build the road for your community. You put street light for your community. There has never been Nigeria government present anywhere in Biafra land. And when these people who have been living on Nigeria government fund, palliative and all that, now the palliative is not there, they are crying, waiting for Igbo people or Biafra people to start shouting, oh, the hunger is too much. They can never shout because they has never relied on Nigeria government for their existence. This is the hard truth. But it is not only on this particular self-governance, it is also going to be a model for Biafran nation. If you can survive in Nigeria and everybody is crying and it is only Biafran that are not crying, I want you to think about how it is going to be when you are independent, have the opportunity to govern yourself, make policies for yourself, how you are going to be. It can never be compared to Nigeria, no matter how bad it will be. So our people, irrespective of the blackmail, we will stand very firm. Irrespective of the propaganda, we will continue to stand very, very firm. It is not what you call me and Dr. Cho today that matters, but what you are going to call us in the next 5 years. Thank you. Dr. Cho, if you have one or two things, do you think we can take any questions here, or do you think we can just make our statement and we'll call it a day? Dr. Cho, over to you, please. The media of the Biafra team.
I don't know if Dr. Cho Ayaba is having a challenge again. Mazi Sonu even seems to be having a challenge with his network.
I think you need to bring Dr. Cho down and bring him up again to correct his network issues. Because I can see he's having network issues.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Joy, we can hear you.
If it's okay, maybe I can use 1 or 2 minutes to speak on the current activities of the Ambazonia Biafra Alliance team while Dr. Cho is coming up. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So I just want to thank our both great leaders really for their submission today. And I would like to encourage all of us, great Biafrans, great Ambazonians, that history made is not easy. So this is really the time for us to join and really do what we can to really support our both nations. So just to talk a little bit about the Ambazonia Biafra Alliance, as you may already know, from the last press briefing, that is December 19th, we know that both leaders, our leader, Dr. Cho Ayaba, and our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, they announced the creation of the Ambazonia Biafra Council of International Affairs and Economic Council. Now, this council has been charged with working to make our nations part of a structured international discussion. Now, what we're currently working on right now is basically to write a rebuttal article that was basically a rebuttal to the International Crisis Group, calling on the AU to put Southern Cameroon War on its 2024 agenda. We are now currently writing basically a rebuttal to the leadership of the African Union, the Peace and Security Council of the African Union. Basically, we are calling on them, the AU, to intervene to address the Ambazonia and Biafra self-determination quest. We're basically asking them to examine the root causes of the conflicts and to really prefer lasting solutions. We're actually going to give them certain strategies and mechanisms. For instance, we are asking that they could initiate a comprehensive and inclusive dialogue process to address the root causes of the Ambazonia, Cameroon, Biafra, and Nigerian conflicts. We are also asking them to examine, to facilitate the mediation efforts to bring basically all nations to a negotiating table. We're asking them to examine and establish basically a fact-finding mission to investigate the human rights abuses that is currently ongoing in our nations. we would like to really advocate for international support and also to address the humanitarian needs that are currently ongoing. So this is basically a nutshell of the reboot that we are currently working on between the Ambazonia and Biafra Council team. Also, I would like to also mention that this our team that we are also being tasked to really define strategies or to find ways to lobby against businesses that undermine the sovereignty of Biafra and Ambazonia, and also the ownership of our resources. Now, the council will also work on the refugee situation of our nations and really find, devise basically strategies to take a hard stand on the Nigeria-Cameroon regarding our citizens that are being kidnapped. What we are also planning on also is to kind of create a discussion panel. So Ambazonia Biafra Council team, we're planning to create discussion panel in the future where we will have a good interaction with our people, both Ambazonian and Biafran, and it will be focused on three main parts. The first is the Defense Alliance, then we have the second, the Diplomacy Alliance, and then we have the Economic Alliance. The whole purpose and strategy is basically so that we will create more awareness and get our people involved and excited to be part of the new nation that is being developed. So I want to thank our great leaders, Dr. Cho and our Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, for this great work they are doing. They are making history. And I think that Dr. Cho is back, so I will yield my mic.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
I think I don't have much to say. Dr. Joy has summarized work in progress, and I would call on you, Dr. Joy, and Chairman Kavi from the Ambazonian side to work very hard and make these drafts available to our both offices in the shortest time possible. I am enthused by what you have itemized, and I am very hopeful that we will move aggressively. We have got work to do, and both leaders will be consulting regularly on all the issues that you have highlighted, and we will make sure that we let international partners understand that we are having us for stability and opportunity, and that Cameroon and Nigeria are not only opportunists, but they are the source for instability and insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea. So thanks to the moderators, the host, and to everyone who has come to listen to us today. We are indebted in gratitude, and we ask you to continue to be advocate for the survival and self-preservation of our both peoples, for us to establish a space where they can live in peace and security. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cho. I will leave one last word. The more they blackmail us, the stronger we are. The more propaganda, the more strong we become. The more attack, the more forward we go. Everything worketh for good for Ambazonia and Biafra. Thank you.
God bless you, Mr. Prime Minister. Good night to everybody.
Bless you too.
Thank you so much.
From here. And thank you, Biafrans, for listening this evening, irrespective of the attack, trying to destabilize what we're doing. I thank you all for having that patience and staying here to the end of this particular briefing from myself and the leader of Ambazonia. Well, thank you all. In the next few days, the Biafra government will unveil the Biafra National Identity Card, and the process. Make sure you stick to this particular platform where the information will be released. And in the next few days, there's going to be the State of the Union address by myself. And so please, it is very, very important that those of you who would want to come to Finland. During our declaration this year, you have to start preparing ahead of time. Every information will be released in a few days' time. Thank you, the media team. Thank you, Dr. Professor Joy, and you and your team, the Ambazonia Biafra Alliance team. Thank you all who are working assiduously, secretly, for the betterment of our people and for our freedom. May God bless all of you. From here, from me, is good evening.
All right, that takes us to the end of the video. I hope you followed us to this very point, because a lot has been said, and we must put our lives and self together to make sure that this Biafra and Ambazonia is respected and restored. Yes, because we want to take care of that which belongs to us. We are full grown and responsible. We should be responsible to our environment, our resources, our children, our development, commerce, and finance, everything. You understand? So we are not actually asking for too much. It is the inalienable right given to us by Chukwu Okike Mapuri Mehenile. And that they say, thank you very much for your time on this very channel. God bless you all.